Welcome, I'm Phil with Morris Writers, and today what I'd like to talk to you about is the production engine versus the creative soul. What AI can and cannot do for storytellers. Okay, so let me shift over to this. All right, here. Okay, so the noise in the writer's lounge. Okay, everywhere you look right now, authors are split into two extreme camps. On one side, people are panicking that storytelling is dead. On the other side, tech hype people are selling write a novel in a weekend. Both sides are really missing the mark, okay? So the reality here is, can AI write a book? Technically, the answer is yes. It can output 80,000 words in a few minutes. But can it write your book? And the answer is not a chance. No way can it write your book. And really, the books that it makes are really just generic, boring, and really crappy. So let's shift to this right here. And oops, we'll go here. Okay, so what we're going to do here is this is the framework. AI isn't a creative deity. It isn't, uh, but it isn't completely useless either. It's a tool, a massive high speed production engine. It's a tool just like Excel was a tool, spreadsheets is a tool, typewriters were a tool, the printing press was a tool. AI is just another tool. Okay, so if you treat AI like it's a hyper efficient digital assistant for your administrative, structural, and organizational chores, it will save you hundreds of hours. Okay? But if you hand over your voice, your subtext, your lived human experience, you end up with sterile, soulless prose that sound like everything else on the internet. It's just out and out, super boring stuff. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the difference between the production engine and the soul. So, the production engine is 10 things AI is actually good at. All right. Let's go here. So, um, one thing is beating the blank page syndrome. Whenever you're staring at the blinking cursor, blank page, it's the hardest part of the job. You don't know where to start. You got so many ideas rolling around in your head, and you just need to get something down on the paper. What do you start with? Well, something that you can do is you can ask the AI for 5 fast scene starters, 10 character names, or 3 ways a character might physically enter a room. You aren't copying the output, you're using it to spark and ignite your own engine, your own imagination to get things going. All right? The second thing is the midnight sounding board. Okay, human critique partners and editors sleep. The software does not. When you're stuck on a plot hole late at night, you bounce what if scenarios off of it. You treat it like a tabletop player throwing wild ideas at a game master just to see what sticks. It's great for getting a bunch of ideas. You say, hey, I want 20 ways of driving a car. And it will give you a bunch of different ways. And in a lot of cases, you won't use any particular one. You might take 2 of them and put them together. That'll happen a lot. All right. Another thing is the series. If you have a series in story Bibles, once you hit book 2 or 3 in a series, tracking minor details becomes a nightmare. So what you can do is you can upload your notes, your manuscript files to search for specific continuity facts. What color were the captain's eyes? What are the exact rules of your magic system? It acts like an Ultimate Series archive. And you can take and you can load up your entire brain dump, which is your next thing. You want to clean up your brain dump and organize it into reasonable notes. So you can also use dictation. You can dictate, create a file, and then all your thoughts while you're walking or driving, doing dishes, whatever. Then feed the raw transcript into an AI and clean it up, the stutters, fix formatting, and turn it into a clean outline. And then you can end up using that outline for other things here. All right, let's see here. One thing that you can do is you can use it for accelerated fact checking and initial research. Deep rabbit holes can steal days of drafting momentum. I remember back when I was young and had to write many things. I'd spend hours at the library looking through books and copying down notes and things like that. I couldn't write at the library, pen and paper sort of thing, but I couldn't write up, what I was trying to get at. I would write out little sequences and things like that. Now, with the AI, you can have it search the web. You can get quick, high detailed summaries of historical periods, specialized medical details, technical concepts. You can use it as a launching pad to direct your deep dive research that you need for your stories. You can use it for looking at your pacing and structural diagnostics. It's hard to see structural flaws as you're writing because you're just too close to what your draft is. So what you do is you can paste in a chapter and you can ask for an objective breakdown. What is the dialogue to exposition ratio? Where does the scene momentum slow down? It gives you an overview of your scene geometry. You can also find out things like how many times you use the word then, if you use it too much or something like that. And of course, you can do line level mechanics and proofing. Misspelled words, repeated phrases, typos that drain your editing focus. You can let it run a line level check to catch double words, missing punctuation, and basic grammatical slips before you hand in the draft over to your human editor. That's what Grammarly has been doing for years and years, and a lot of that's built into most word processors now, and it's basically AI. All right, so now let's get into the marketing. You're going to offload, some things on administrative things onto the AI. So you've got marketing and admin copy. You can write a 90,000 word book. It's fun, but taking it and boiling it down to a 150 word log line is torture for most authors. You need to create a short blurb. How do you do that? Well, you can load up the entire book and then you can have it create a synopsis for you. Of course, you want to go in and edit that synopsis to make sure that it doesn't give away too much stuff, because AI will do that. But then you can take and feed in your synopsis and you can ask for 10 variations of newsletter teasers or ad hooks or social media blurbs. It takes the heavy lifting out of the publishing admin portion of it. And in a lot of cases, you'll do what I've said before. You'll take pieces from one and another, and then you'll kind of put them together into your own. It's like, oh, I like this section here, but this section is better, and you'll write up your own. So it's really good. It's like brainstorming for admin stuff. Okay, you can use it to generate visual concepts and mood boards. Visualizing character proportions, clothing, architecture helps lock in setting details. You can generate a fast character, artwork, or setting reference image to build a visual mood board for your workspace while you write. Now, in our case, we generally draw out what we're doing, but other authors can't draw that well. So, you can use the AI to get some concepts. I even did a video on creating a concept cover using AI. I think I did it in like 10 minutes, no artistic ability. But that's something that what you do is you've got a good idea for what you want. You can kind of mock it up, and then you can give it to your graphic designer to do your cover. Now we do our own covers, we draw them out, but that's the way that we do things. And another thing that's good at is format translation. Okay, you want to take what you've written, all your work, and translate it into new mediums, and it takes a massive amount of formatting time. So you can take the prose and ask it to format the layout to do a video script outline. So maybe you want to feed that in to create a video advertisement, or you've gave your log line to a publishing house, and they said, "Oh, hey, give us a pitch." Well, you get like 3 to 5 minutes, mostly 3 minutes. And so what you can do is you can create a pitch deck based off of some of your stuff, to when you got that 3 minutes, you can throw up some slides, you can talk about it, and be very quick and point on. So it's taking all of your information and giving you the pieces that you need to do these things. Of course, it's not going to just produce anything perfect, but it's a big jump ahead. You can use it for an audio script. You can have it go through your book and generate up, hey, this is the audio script. This is when this character says this and this character says this. And if you have different actors doing these voices, then you can give them direction based off of the prose that you have in there. It really helps you with that level of formatting. Alrighty, now so those were the things that it's good at. Now, so notice the pattern. Look back at all those 10 strengths. Every single one is about structure, organization, formatting, or administrative things. None of them involve the actual story. It's just getting information moved around. It's storing information in a better way for you to get to it, for you to see it, for it to be in front of you so you can do what you want it to do. All right, so now let's take a look at this here. So the math behind all of this: large language models calculate the statistical average of human writing. It predicts the most likely next word. However, there's a problem here. The statistical average is by definition generic. Great storytelling doesn't live in the average. It lives in the unexpected, in the strange, the subverted, the deeply personal sections of your writing. So it is the weirdness in things that really pushes that. So the AI, yes, it can produce a perfectly normal, boring book. You're not boring. We're not boring. We're not going to do it that way. So these are the things that it fails at. All right? So it's the craft and the soul. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with subtext. All right? Subtext, the unspoken emotional tension. All right, so great prose is about what characters don't say. AI is literal. It wants to explain every emotion on the surface. It struggles with quiet grief, loaded glances, passive-aggressive family dinners, or double entendres, where the tension lives entirely between the lines. You can say in the actual text, yes, mystery that you've got. Oh, I never show up there on Sunday. Well, the AI will just see it as never showing up on Sunday, but maybe there's something in what wasn't said about being there on other days. There's even more subtext that you can really get into that the AI just doesn't understand. Okay, the original voice. Okay, your voice is your brand. It's how a reader identifies with your work instantly. AI defaults to overused tropes, purple prose, it predicts cliches, a testament to tapestry or shivers down the spine. Those were really common things. It can't invent anything fresh, a startling metaphor born out of a unique perspective. It's just the same thing over and over again. And, of course, it can't do genuine, humorous anything. Um, Humor requires a cultural context, precise subversion, perfect rhythm. AI doesn't understand why something is funny. It replicates jokes, structures, but it misses the dry, the unexpected, or the dark humor that makes a scene great. It just has no timing. It can tell you a joke, but it's telling you jokes that it's heard before. All right, let's go to this. Okay, so the algorithms have never felt heartbreak. Okay, AI doesn't have any human lived experiences. Friction is built on real memory and physical sensation. An algorithm has never felt grief, never dealt with a family medical crisis, never sat at a table game session for 6 hours or drawn a character by hand. It can describe a physical condition or emotion conceptually, but it lacks the weight of an actual lived experience. Until the AI is put into a robot that can move and feel and taste and touch and basically be an android, it's never going to have that human experience. It can't understand moral ambiguity and deep ethics. Compelling characters operate in the messy gray areas. Safety guardrails and underlying training push models towards preachy, moralized, and neat conclusions. It struggles to let flawed characters make genuine, selfish, or terrible choices without slapping a tidy lesson on the end, okay? You know, it's just, there's so much averaging and so much censorship that it's not going to do what you want it to do. Okay, now, the true reader connection here. It requires, human worldview. All right, so long arc canon and subversive continuity. Multi-book series require intricate, subtle payoffs built over hundreds of thousands of words. Beyond short context windows, the LLMs, AI, lose track of subtle character growth, thematic evolution, and dedicated foreshadowing. It forgets the emotional history between characters. So, if you have multiple books and you have your characters in there and you want to have your characters grow as they go along, and then you get into your second book and you bring in your character profile, it's going to start over at the beginning with none of the emotional increase. So you have to really get in and break things down. And the AI is just not good at doing that sort of thing. It can help with the emotional arc, but you've got to get that stuff in there. You've got to get those little minor bits and pieces. It's not good at deliberate trope subversion, okay? Readers love when a story sets up a familiar path and then takes a sharp, surprising turn. Because AIs operate on probability, an AI will naturally steer your plot towards the most common, worn out ending available in its training data. Nothing exciting, strange is going to happen. Uh, and there's no authentic reader connection. Readers don't just fall in love with a book, they build a connection with the human mind that's behind the book. So they don't sign up for a newsletter list or buy a box series because of an algorithm. They do it because they trust your worldview, your humor, and your voice. And it really boils down to creative intent, the why. Storytelling is an act of conviction. AI has no artistic drive. It doesn't care if the scene works. It doesn't care about the characters. It feels no joy when the plot clicks into place. It produces output, but you create the meaning. So it just spits out words. That's all it does. Okay, now this is going to require a little bounce around. Okay, so knowing when to break the rules. This is the hard one here. The AI generates the statistical average, all the cliches. The human creates tension through unspoken subtext. The AI chooses the most predictable plot paths. The human deliberately subverts tropes to surprise. The AI treats broken rules as errors to fix them. And the human breaks pacing and grammar rules for emotion. One of the things that I've done in a book that I'm writing right now is there's a dream sequence. And if I were to give this to the AI, it would try to crunch it all up into nice, neat little paragraphs and take out all of the visuals that are in it. And what I've got is I've got like one short sentence on each line trying to give you the feeling of being in a dream where you've got this one thing that happens and then another thing that happens, and it's all short little bits and pieces. And the AI can't do that sort of thing. It figures that it's an error. It defaults to preachy, neat resolutions where the human sits confidently in messy moral ambiguity. So, master storytellers intentionally break grammatical, structural, and pacing rules for emotional impact. Software treats rule breaking as an error to be corrected. If you write a jagged, fragmented, heavy scene to mimic the panic attack, a language model will try to fix it into smooth, boring paragraphs. Isn't that fun? All right. So, what you want to do is you want to protect the weirdness. Technique can be taught, structure can be repaired, but the way you see a story is the only thing worth protecting. So, the final verdict here: treat AI as your file clerk, your research assistant, your formatting tool, but guard your creativity fiercely. As soon as you try to give AI the creativity, it is no longer creative. The rule of thumb here is to draft first, interrogate later. Let your first pass be raw, weird, human, and imperfect. Technique can be taught, structure can be repaired, and extra words can be cut, but the specific lens through which you see the world, that is the one thing worth protecting, and it is the one thing no software can ever replicate. I've been Phil with Mars Writers, and I hope this has been interesting for you. Let us know down in the comments. Does this make sense to you? What do you use AI for? We use it for basic organization, and that's about it. And sometimes we're with some brainstorming, a little bit of editing, but we hand it off to a human editor and we go on from there. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.